The reaction continues to pour in today on this National Voter Registration Day. And while national polls won't be available for a few days, today both candidates' supporters continue to praise the person they call the winner. And that includes Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan.
I saw Hillary Clinton give a polished, well-rehearsed defense of the status quo, which 7 out of 10 Americans don't like. I saw Donald Trump give a spirited voice to those of us who don't like the status quo.
Genevieve Wood is former RNC spokesperson. Jeanne Mancini is president of the March for Life. Now, as Jason, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
As Jason mentioned just a few minutes ago, pro-life issues were not talked about at all. Why not? And do you wish they were?
We absolutely do, and voters do as well. Apparently, abortion was the second most researched term on the internet last night after immigration. And so for your voters and viewers who are wondering where they stand on this issue, they can check out March for Life Action because we have a scorecard that shows where both candidates stand on this issue. And it's very clear that one is pro-life and one is not.
Genevieve, give me your perspective on whether or not you think this issue will be talked about in the next few debates based on past presidential debates you know about?
Well, I think it eventually always comes up, either as a standalone issue or because, and I can't imagine we're not going to have a discussion on judges and who goes on the Supreme Court and what their philosophy is about that. And that's an obvious place to bring it up. And look, I mean, Hillary Clinton's not scared of her position on this, but I don't think Donald Trump is scared of his either. So I think it's a place where you're going to see a real difference of opinion, and you're going to have a lot of folks out there who can understand this is the kind of judges he's going to pick versus what she's going to pick, and what that means for the life issue.
If you were moderator, Jeanne, of the next debate, what is the abortion question you would ask?
I would want to ask Hillary Clinton if she really knows how out of touch she is with mainstream America, much less pro-life Catholics who know that life begins at conception. Her stance is pro-abortion until the time of birth, paid for by your taxpayer dollars. That is radically out of touch with mainstream America.
And you had put together an ad campaign that was on all of the television networks that talked about abortion and the issues and how they are in mainstream America.
Absolutely. It's the consensus. It's that 8 out of 10 Americans are in favor of strong, robust restrictions on abortion. That's not what Hillary Clinton is standing for in the least.
Genevieve, historically, where would you say the Republican and the Democratic Party are on the abortion issue?
Well, I mean, historically, and I think it just continues to play out, Democrats have been increasingly the party that believes abortion on demand at any moment, at any time, for any reason. Republicans are the only ones who, they aren't all perfect, but they, in most cases, want to at least put some serious brakes on it. They certainly don't think tax dollars ought to be supporting it. I mean, there is a real difference here. You can talk about trade and a lot of issues, but this is one area where there is a very clear difference between what the Republican candidate stands for and what the Democratic candidate
And for
stands for.
both of you, a Wall Street Journal editorial board member called Clinton the Empress of the status quo. When it comes to social issues, do you, Genevieve, think that is true? Is it the status quo? Is it true for this administration on social issues?
Yeah, it depends on what status quo you're talking about. Certainly the status quo of the abortion movement, it's the status quo of the Obama administration, it's the status quo of the Democratic Party, but I do not think that the majority of Americans, and I think the ad that you guys did was terrific in pointing this out, the vast majority of Americans, they may not all be opposed to abortion all the time, but the vast majority thinks it should be restricted, well beyond what Hillary Clinton wants to do.
But I guess my question, Jeanne, is, hasn't it become worse under this administration?
I would say yes. I think President Obama has been the most pro-abortion president in the history since Roe versus Wade was decided, and I think what we'll see with Hillary Clinton is more of that. I mean, she has absolutely promised to do away with the Hyde Amendment, which until recently was a bipartisan supported popular bill which prohibits taxpayer funding of abortion, and Americans are strongly in favor of that. So, but she's absolutely promising to do away with it. So I think she'll push us further from where we've even gotten with President Obama, unfortunately.
Jeanne Mancini, March for Life. Genevieve Wood, former RNC spokesperson. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Brian, the vice presidential debate is on Tuesday in Farmville, Virginia, and Republican vice presidential nominee Mike Pence will square off against his Democratic counterpart, Tim Kaine. We will be there. We will join you those days with pre- and post-debate reporting and analysis from a Catholic perspective. Brian.
Thank you, Lauren Ashburn.